this computer. All right, I think we are recording. Sweet. Hey, it's Dan. It's the Fiverr. The Fiverr is where I ask 5 questions, 5 adjacent questions, because it's going to be more. We all know that. I have my good friend Willy. He lives out in LA. He has my favorite viral video that I share with friends, the yacht rock video. So I'm sorry I didn't mention that to you before we started.
Oh, that's all good. Yeah,
I love it.
I'm happy when people know what yacht rock is, because most people don't. They know the genre and they don't know it started with a group of idiots that were just having fun.
Dude, I have showed so many people that video or those videos. Yeah, so all of Mountain Crest Behavioral Health, the inpatient unit, they know about yacht rock because we love yacht rock. And I do this thing. I've noticed since recording these things, I do this. And I don't know what that means. But anyways, welcome to the Fiverr. Thank you for being the second guest that I've
Thanks for having me.
Willy and I went to high school together. He graduated 2 years before me. He now lives out in LA. Willy, what do you do? This is not part of the 5 questions, but
well, I'm in one of those situations where I've got day job and I've got creativity, and they haven't matched up yet. My day job, as I do props and set dressing for TV shows and movies.
okay.
And so it's like a career that I accidentally got that is a good backup career, but it's just not what I want to do. So, I go through bouts of like really not enjoying it, but it's a great job with benefits, and I'm glad that I have it now in this crisis. But what I like to do is I write, direct, and act. I do anything comedy. I do stand up. I do a podcast about conspiracy theories and paranormal. Basically anything that I feel like doing for fun is what I end up doing. So as far as like career direction, I don't have any. But I am doing a lot of things that I enjoy. I did some voices on some cartoons this year. Like it's, for an Adult Swim show called, oh gosh, now I can't think of it.
No worries.
Are you kidding me? It's one of my friends made it. It's really funny. Oh crap, this is ridiculous.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Oh fuck. And then I also did a voice for Gloop World, which is coming out on Quibi. That's Justin Roiland is making that.
Yeah, because I keep seeing ads for Quibi. Tell me about Quibi. What's Quibi?
Do you remember Go90?
No.
It's a phone app. It's the dumbest name. It was called Go90 because they thought that they would get everyone to turn their phone sideways to watch videos on the app. It is another phone app that it's coming out that is just going to have content on it. And so it's great because they're paying creators basically full price to make short version things. Everything's going to be between 5 and 10 minutes. And so
nice.
we were going to pitch some shows to them before this all went down, and now everybody's not accepting pitches, but it's going to be an app coming out where creative people are making creative content.
That's super cool. Yeah, I'm super excited for you.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like what I'm doing is whatever's in front of me, which has been a great time, and I just want to be able to be creative for the rest of my life. Hopefully I end up getting paid for that.
Well, one of the great things is like you and I were not like super good friends or anything. I think we were friend adjacent in high school, and we were able to be Facebook friends.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love is with Facebook and with all the internet stuff is that you and I are able to connect now too. And I love the fact that you can create that content and you have such a wide reach to other people.
As much as I think I really think Facebook is the devil, but it's also the angel, you know, like
Hmm.
it's so corrupt, and everything's being watched, and there's all this weird shit on Facebook. But in the same way that we have connected, you know, it's like there isn't anything else that allows us to connect. And it's like we have the technology to talk to anybody in the world, and we're not doing that. So I also praise Facebook for connecting people that, you know, listen, in the end, I feel like everybody that isn't in power wants to be a good person and wants to be creative. And most people don't know what their outlet is. They don't even know what creativity is. I don't mean to say that in a dumb way. I'm just saying that, like, in high school, anything that was creative was looked at, you know, it's not worth anything, you know,
All right.
uh, arts, liberal arts, music, whatever. They were all fun hobbies, but they were never looked at as a reality for anybody. And I'm like, that is the reality that humanity needs to transcend being idiots. You know, we need creativity. So that's why I love that you're doing this out of the blue. You start up a show and you're into it already. And um, you know, you might be hindered at first by all of the new technologies of everything that you need to do to make something so little happen. But that creative energy is going to, that's what people need. It, you know, it's synergy. It's you start making something, somebody else goes, oh, I can do that too, which is exactly, sorry to take over, I talk a lot. which
You,
but
that's why I wanted to talk to you because
yeah.
we're very similar.
That's how I
I
started
don't know
doing
you
stand
very
up.
well, but I figured you'd be down with this, and we are very similar. So,
I didn't start doing stand up until I was like 32, because I
oh
kept going
wow,
my whole life. I was like, oh, I want to do stand up, because I've been doing comedy. I've been making videos since high school.
yeah.
Even in high school, I like convinced teachers to let me turn in video projects instead of essays. So I've always been like doing shit. Um, and so I saw my friend do stand up. One of the funniest guys I know, Jim Hamilton. I laughed my ass off. I used to follow my friends around for support, but also they're the funniest people in the world, you know? Um, and then I saw Jim Hamilton do comedy on the other side of town, because there's different pockets of comedy and they all have different genres of comedy, basically.
Hmm.
And he did his exact same set and he bombed. And I was like, wait a minute. This doesn't make sense to me. He's really funny. And it just made me go like, I never did stand up because I'm like, oh, I don't want to fail. I don't want to bomb. And then I was like, oh, bombing is what comedy is. You can't come up with a good joke unless you've told a bad joke. You know, it's a constant improvement. It builds upon you failing. So if you're a comedian and you've never failed, I would imagine you're going to peak early and just not be much funny after that, because you don't know that comedy is constantly morphing.
Uh, you don't know that it's, yeah, kind of that stream of you're doing good, you're not doing good. Yeah, the audience doesn't like what you're doing. Those types of things.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think comedy is very similar to being a therapist because often, sometimes you're really good with patients, and then other times, not so much. And you just have to find your lane.
That's pretty. And then, also, when you hear people say things like trust yourself, it doesn't make sense until you need to trust yourself.
Mm,
It's like you can hear it all day, but there's no context. And I don't know. I'm going to be 44 this year, so I'm one of those guys that's ready to give anybody advice, but I know not to give it unless somebody asks. You know what I
dude,
mean?
you're so fucking old. I'm gonna be 41 this year. So, uh, oh man. It's fascinating because one of my favorite things is comedy. I absolutely love comedy. I've been blessed that I've been able to go down to Comedy Works, which, from what I hear, is one of the best clubs in the nation, and I've
It's up
seen
there.
amazing people.
The thing is like when I was in high school, we didn't have comedy in Colorado.
Oh no.
And if there was, it was usually very homophobic, you know, and that's it, you
Mm,
know, just like kind of bullies. I don't know, whatever. I,
no,
um,
I hear you. I hear
we've
you.
definitely, Colorado's definitely grown up, and like when I left without ever living in Denver, which I always wanted to do, and their comedy scene is really good because, like old school days of Chicago, um, where most of the great comedians of today came from, I think, um, they had it's like when I explain comedy from Chicago from that time, and I only say this because I know a lot of Chicago comedians, I feel like I'm very intuitive. Basically, Chicago created an environment where the most important thing was that you became you. It's like anybody's funny, but how are you funny? And so my favorite comedians are from Chicago because they're so unique, you know.
Hmm.
Kyle Kinane, um, 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 Kumail Nanjiani. I know he was. I don't think he's from Chicago, obviously, but he grew
No,
up in
but
there.
he went through Second City, didn't he?
Well, I'm not sure, but I know that he got a lot of his chops in Chicago. I know he lived in New York also, but Matt Bronger, Matt Dwyer, I don't know, whatever. Um, and so what's funny is like in LA, the comedy scene here is, I mean, let me bitch about New York for a second. New York's comedy scene,
Go for it.
and this is for a while. I don't know how things have changed now, but for a while it was, I'm the funniest fucking person. Fuck you. And so there's this attitude of like no one's better than me. And so when UCB came from New York to LA, there was this weird competition that like people were like, I don't know why there needs to be a competition because LA is filled with people that aren't from LA. They're from all these Midwestern small towns, and all they want to do is help each other out. And so LA is a place where people got together, and if you knew it was possible that you could work with people, you did. And that's how, I think that's what made the Channel 101 community. And I think that's
Mm.
what made Yacht Rock so big, was that like how did you get so many people in one place to all work on one fucking thing? I was lucky enough to be in a late episode. Like I knew those guys, but I didn't know. I don't think I created much that they saw before then. So you know, it's all about, if you're going to create things, nobody knows what you want to do until you do it. And so um, I don't think people knew. I was friends with people out, Wade and Drew and people that were making stuff, but they
Yeah.
hadn't seen my stuff, and so they didn't know that I wanted to do that stuff. And
Hmm.
so when you start doing what you want to do, people in that creative field will gel with you because it's like, oh, you do this too. It just changes the conversation. Like, oh, you're creative, let's fucking talk, you know. Like it allows people to open up to you because you've opened up yourself by creating something. Okay, go on.
Dude, that is so awesome. God, I wish I could give you a hug. Um, no, that's true because I didn't realize I wanted to create anything until I did this 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And
And honestly,
thankfully,
props to you for just jumping in and doing it, because that's the point where people give up on their dreams. It's because they don't know that you don't have to be dreaming to have dreams. You know, it's just like, oh, I just have to do something. Okay, I did it. And now you're doing it.
well, and my thought was I'm locked in my house in Loveland, Colorado. I need to get out. I need to talk to people. So I started talking to people over Skype, over Zoom, things like that. And then I was like, one of my skills is I like to talk to people. I like to bring out stuff. So why don't I just talk to people about stuff?
Here's
And
a
then my
stupid side
wife,
question. Oh yeah, go on,
thank
go
God, my wife,
on.
thank God. because if I lived by myself, I would not do this. But thank God my wife, and I like that I do this.
Yeah.
If she can beat me up because I'm a big pansy. Um, my wife is like, "Oh, you need to do a YouTube show." And I was like, "I don't know how to do that." She's like, "Well, just start recording bullshit."
I
I was
know,
like,
dude. It's
"Sweet."
great that you're blessed with that because most people don't have that one person, friend or significant other that just says, "Well, just do it," because you're not going to tell yourself to just go do it.
Oh
So
no.
I yeah, that's why I
Oh,
don't know.
there is like the biggest fear. So for people if they ever watch this, um I Facebooked bombed everyone that I know and said, "Hey, would you want to chat for 15-20 minutes? It's going to end up being longer with you and I, Willie," which is fine. Um, I had no idea that people would respond so much. So, I just hope people just lean into making content and um I think there's a lot of people that can make content
Yeah,
and chat with other people. And that's what the big thing that I've learned from being in quarantine is how to connect with people, which is funny as a therapist,
yeah.
because I I thought I connected with people, but then I realized no, I was just going through my day. I was just chatting with them. Um,
Well, it's
I
weird to
wasn't
realize
following.
that, like when you say that, it's weird because that's a dig on yourself from yourself to be like, well,
Ooh,
wasn't really connecting. Like we've had a couple Zoom meetings with family, and it's like, I don't know. It's so much better now that we need to reach out to them as opposed to, I don't know. I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. We're in weird times, and I never thought. Listen, I do a show about conspiracy theories and paranormal, and it's called Real Life Sci-Fi. I never thought I would have to actually live through anything because our show is we drunkenly talk about them. Um, it's not like trying to convince anybody or have facts. Like we have a believer, a
Right.
non-believer, and a guest, and a lot of alcohol, because that's what I like to talk about. I like to talk about the possibilities of what if this is real? What if, I mean, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories about this, and I never like to talk about them with people unless they're open to explore them all, because this is what's happening. This is uh, you know, for the most part, most conspiracies are agencies or people taking advantage of a situation, and it makes it hard to see the truth. And in most situations, we will never know the truth. We're never going to know the truth of John F. Kennedy, one of the last real presidents, because they redacted everything. And even if whistleblowers come out to try to tell you the truth, you'll never see them. And if you do, you'll never believe them. And so we basically in there's a lot of faith that is required for people to believe in things, and people I think easily have faith. But I'm just like, I just want to explore everything, so I don't want your faith to get in the way of our conversation in any realm. Even if you believe in science, science is I believe in science, but science is changing, and there are a lot of people that believe in science that aren't changing with the times of science. I'm sorry, okay, go on. You're
Ugh,
right. I can. My problem is that it's
you're
not that I
fine.
don't. Yeah, yeah.
Your problem is what?
I um I project so much that I feel like me talking is a conversation.
Okay, so you feel like you talk too much.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is going to be terrible because you and I are going to talk forever. But I love it. Um, so, um, you have the podcast Real Life Sci-Fi. Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
You and Wade. Wade was one of my only friends in middle school. I don't know if he even remembers it, but yeah, he was one of my only friends in middle school.
Wade was one of those guys who was extra small in high school. He only became normal sized in college. And so for someone like him who loved to play basketball, he needed to have, better dribbling skills because anybody could block his shot. So I don't know.
Oh man. Well, when I do upload this, I'll include a link for you guys' show. Um, we probably should get to the fibers. The fibers. Oh man. Now I have to open up on my phone because I sent it to you. All right. How did you end up doing comedy?
Well, like I said, I used to make funny videos in high school. I ended up getting my grandparents' VHS camera, and my dad let me use it. And so me and Blue Grimes and Doug Schinkel and Bill Pohl, we just started and Jed Coley, we just started making videos for fun. And then we would play those videos at parties,
Okay.
and everybody thought they were great. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I love doing it too, but if people like it, I'll make more. And then in college, I joined at Colorado State. I joined uh, campus television and started doing. We had a sketch show there, but they didn't like sketches because they were trying to be a credible news place. So they really hated us at the time because they're like, you guys can't be just making sketches. It's got to be reporting. And so we, would do, bands would come through town. We'd interview them, try to come up with things that weren't sketches, but try to be funny. And then, Wade always wanted to be a writer, and he was like, hey, let's apply to film school. We both applied. We didn't get in. He's like, let's go anyways. I never thought I would leave Loveland, Fort Collins. I love that area so much. I love small towns. I love how I grew up. And I just went with him. I didn't think that I was going, so much so that the night before we left I called everybody up and said, hey, will you help me pack up this truck? Cause I guess I'm actually leaving. So all my friends came over, we packed up all my stuff that I owned in one night and moved to LA, and then 9/11 happened. We moved the week of 9/11. So the world changed, the country changed, and it's interesting to try to be fun, especially to start to be funny at a time when you're not allowed to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had situations too where my dad died of cancer, and then the week I got back from his funeral, I had to play a character who was making fun of cancer survivors. Which,
Yikes.
I mean, my thing is to me, I know that people get offended, but comedy is not being offended. And so comedy is definitely, it keeps changing, and what things that are allowed are not allowed. It's constantly changing, and you have to respect people. But ultimately, I love being funny. And so I don't mind having the rules of, well, don't offend anybody. Okay, that's fine. I'll try not to, but because I'm not trying to offend anybody, I'm trying to be funny. And so, I didn't do stand up until I was making videos the whole time for Channel 101.
Right.
But I didn't start doing stand up until my story with Jim Hamilton. And I just, if you want to be a real stand-up comedian, you've got to go out 5 times a week, and you've got to work on your 3-minute TV show piece. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be a professional stand-up. I just want to be funny. So I basically do stand-up whenever people ask me. I'll ask to be on shows, whatever. But I enjoy doing it, but I enjoy doing everything. So I'm terrible for anybody's. I'll give everybody career advice, but for myself, I'm just doing everything. It's like, no, you need to focus on one thing, because I'm also writing, I'm pitching shows. I've got a show that we're pitching to some networks currently, but we're taking a break. But
Yeah.
but I mean, my thing is I love being creative, and I think if comedy is evolving and comedy is being creative, I could spend the rest of my life being fun, trying to be funny. And so that's what I want to get paid to be creative. That's what I want to do. And I have been paid doing that, but it's still not my career. But times like these are weird times where you can pave the new way for what people are supposed to do. On all these like funny apps like TikTok and stuff, as soon as somebody does one thing, everybody does it. Now they call it a challenge. It's like, oh, somebody did this funny thing. That's the face challenge, whatever, but it's like the idea, I mean, like I'm constantly trying to think of ways to, either make people laugh or come up with funny ideas. And for years, I've just been writing them down and hoarding them because I'm like, well, I don't want to give this away. I had a video that was featured on Funny or Die when they first started. It was called Dohar, Lord of Beasts. I made it with Mike Manischewitz and Ryan Elder. And it was I could control animals with my mind, but we were using like taxidermy animals with bad
Oh
strings.
shit! I think I saw that.
And it got so big that Funny or Die early on called me up and they're like, hey, do you want to make exclusive content for us? And I was like, at the time there were all these websites that were paying and they didn't want to pay me. And I was like, no, I want to put all my stuff on all the websites. 10 years later, I would have been happy to just make stuff for them for free because they gave you the creative freedom to do whatever you want. So, I don't regret that, but it's just a funny story because I'm like, you think you know anything, and it's like, well, not that I should have jumped on the opportunity to work for them for free. But in retrospect, I would have. So it's just funny. You never know what you're going to do, but I think the trick is to just keep doing what you want to do, because I'm happy with my life if my accidental career is the rest of my life, because I'm never going to stop making stuff. So it's like, I'm still living my dream of making stuff. It's just, I just don't have that many views, and that's fine. But you don't grow unless you have more views, because if 8 people saw your video and 2 people hated it, what do you learn from that? You learn nothing. And so my point is, I'm not trying to get the views. I just want more input, because there's that bliss of making a whole room laugh, and that's what I want to feel. That's what I want to make.
So what it sounds like is you love making people laugh.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. You have a lot of insight. Because I think a lot of people go through life, get degrees, do all of the bullshit that we grew up with, that we were told, and it doesn't pay dividends. May pay the bills, but it doesn't make you happy. And it's impressive for you to find that space where you're like, I just want to make people laugh.
I mean,
And
here's a side question, right? Like, I used to build models, right? I used to build all kinds of models. I love making them. In 9th grade, I brought them to a speech class to do a story about them, and some bully, after I did the speech, knocked them on the ground and broke all of them. And I was like, well, I don't need to do models anymore. But I'm like, all of these things that we call hobbies today would be amazing TV shows. I would love to watch like 8 people try to build a model and then vote on the best one, because when you build models, some people want to make it look like the box, but I always try to make it better or creative or
right.
unique. So it'd be, I would watch a show about people getting the same model and just see what they do with it. Oh, here's a 32 Ford Roadster. Like, what did you do with it? Whatever. I made it work. Whatever, I would love that show.
Oh, that would be amazing. So, oh man, you and I are like kindred spirits. Cause that's like the bullshit that I watch online too.
Yeah, right. Have you seen any of those marble races?
No.
Like, just look up marble races, because they actually do live marble races. They do time trials. It's just fun to watch, because it's like it's not that there's somebody's making a marble race. It's somebody that somebody put all this work into this creative thing that, like, why would anybody watch this? And it's amazing.
Sweet. All right. Question number 2. We already covered it. I wrote to you, Yacht Rock, right? That was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yacht Rock is this thing. Yacht Rock is a great example. So let me explain Channel 101 real quick. Channel 101,
Go for it. Yeah.
Rob Schraub and Dan Harmon, they made this pilot called Heat Vision and Jack. Go watch that. It's a Jack Black as a NASA astronaut who got too close to the sun. The sun fried his brain so that it made it so that he was the smartest person when the sun was out and dumb as rocks when the sun went away. Owen Wilson is his talking motorcycle.
What?
So, and it was directed by Ben Stiller. So here's this amazing comedy thing that nobody's heard of.
No.
The network said no. And it's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. And then, in fact, I was sharing this video with tons of people, and I didn't know that it was, I don't read credits for the most part. So one day I watched the credits after like half a year of sharing this video, and I was like, wait, isn't that Rob and Dan, the people that we hang out with and that we know? And Wade was like, yeah, are you stupid? I never looked at the credits. So anyways, they made this pilot. It didn't work out for them, and it made them go, hey, let's make something where the audience is in charge. And so Channel 101 is a monthly comedy festival where people make 5-minute videos, miniature TV shows, and it's for a live audience. The live audience votes on the best 5. And so the best 5 move on. So you keep making shows until you get voted off. And so Yacht Rock was one of those videos that was a 5-minute miniature TV show, the first one. When this show aired, now we joined Channel 101 because we were all paying for websites back then. This was before YouTube. And so if your video got in, they put it on the internet, and it was like, hey, we don't have to pay for our website anymore. Let's just make stuff for this group of people. So Yacht Rock turned into this thing where they made a video for Channel 101. They got voted back, and then it went viral. It was probably, honestly, one of the first viral videos back then, because how did you go viral before YouTube?
Right.
People had to go to your website. What the fuck? How do people find a website? People have to share it. People go things like, I don't even remember the name of old conglomerate websites that I used to go to watch E-Bombs World. How about E-Bombs World? You ever?
Yeah,
Anyways,
I remember E-Bombs.
So they got so viral that all of a sudden at these screenings, there'd be hundreds of people that would show up to watch their screening. And then they're like, wait, we have to vote on stuff? I'm like, what's going on? Whatever. And so, I wasn't even in one till episode 12, and I played Smokey Robinson. And I didn't have a talking role or anything, but I'm very happy that I got to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, here is something that is amazing. I know all these guys, and you let me in. Thank you. And they, for a while they were still doing tours. They'd go into different cities, play the whole series, and then hang out and drink and talk with them. But the whole thing is that it started with their love of music. So being creative, there is no path to be creative. What you need to tap into is what you love. They love music. They love music so much that they made this show that created a genre. It's amazing. And so, but it all came from them being able to, put their ideas out there, which is hard to do because everybody could have laughed at it and never done anything again. But you just have to find something you love doing and then creatively figure out how to make that the thing that you love doing. I don't know. It's different for everybody,
So here's therapist Dan. So what I hear you saying, follow what you love.
But it's hard to find what you love, because
I have no idea what I love.
Yeah.
Well, I love my wife. I love my dogs. I have 2 little terriers, and they're fucking awful little dogs. But I love them. Butters and Sprinkles. Those are my dogs. and they're little fucking terriers. Sprinkles was rescued from Texas, South Texas. So when it snows, she shits in the house like
Oh
none
my
other.
gosh. Wow.
Ugh, I've picked up so much shit today because it's snowing here in Loveland.
Oh,
But
crazy.
anyways, you are a wise man saying follow what you love. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah. Figure out what you love. That's the first step. My niece just graduated high school, and I'm just like, I know she loves painting, but she doesn't. I don't think she thinks that that's something that she could spend the rest of her life doing. And I'm like, just keep doing it. Just figure it out. Whatever.
No, it makes sense. And the other thing I think we need to teach our kids, and unfortunately, I don't have kids. We've been trying, but it hasn't happened yet. Um, is teaching them you can find your passion, you can go through and do all of this stuff, and then your passion might change, and that's
Yeah, yeah,
okay. And
yeah.
that's okay. And saying that's okay.
That is huge. That is huge because I mean, what's great is moving to LA and just starting to work on movies. It was a hard thing because there is no path, and people I was friends with that I was working with, all of a sudden they would change their careers, and it was like, why'd you do that? But I'm like, oh, everyone's just trying to figure it out, so try everything.
Try
Don't.
everything, and
Yeah,
it might change. You might have a passion, it might change later. One of the things that I've learned, um, I was ridiculous. I went through college, went through grad school, became a therapist at 23. Yeah, a
wow.
therapist at 23. That doesn't make sense.
No,
I
but
didn't know what the fuck
you
I
passed
was
the
talking
tests.
about.
I
Um,
There's no way. Well, there's a way, but I just don't think I would listen to a 23-year-old trying to tell
I
me.
wouldn't fucking listen to me. To be honest, I wouldn't fucking listen to me now, but uh, um, one of the fun things is I've been able to transition to a different role, and again, like I said, I have an amazing wife who told me, yeah, you should just talk to people. You're very good at that. I was like, really? Am I good at talking to people? She's like, yeah, I wouldn't have fucking married you if you weren't. So,
That's funny.
yeah, I know. I have a funny wife. Hopefully eventually she'll want to be interviewed, but she gets uh I love her. She's introverted and she hates being on camera. She hates talking to people online. Um so yeah. We'll see
It
what
was
happens.
definitely a hard thing when we started doing the podcast to then have to listen to the show again. I was like, oh, I sound like an idiot, you know? Like at some point, it's like you just have to embrace that you're an idiot because no matter how smart you are, I feel like everyone's an idiot.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a wise.
If you-
Why? Wise. Yes. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know if I'll go back and listen to these interviews. Like, are you taking shots?
yeah,
Sweet.
pickle juice
I have a
chaser.
beer. I poured it in a glass so that people wouldn't know that I'm having a beer.
Well, it's weird because I kind of have liquid courage, even though like I love doing comedy, but well, I'll wait till you ask the question.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Well, I'm. Well, I think you should ask your next question because this is basically the answer that I was thinking of for it.
All right. Hold on. I have to open up my phone again and see what questions I sent you. We did yacht rock, right?
Yeah.
Um, what's something that people don't know about you? Yeah. That's my
Um,
wife's question.
well, it's weird to try to come up with what that answer is, but my answer is like I'm very shy. Like you wouldn't know it. Was that him? Yeah, baby's going crazy. He's not going to sleep.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry. Do we need to wrap up?
no. Um, I'll get on stage. I play dodgeball and I wear eccentric outfits. When I go dancing, I wear like really, I get,
I know it's amazing.
fabulous
Your fanny
outfits.
packs. I love your fanny packs, by the way.
And I will say this as a side note for anyone that says fanny packs are back, they've been saying this for a while. I'm like, I will disagree and say they're not back for men. People always talk shit to me, which is weird. People always talk shit to me for what I'm wearing and especially fanny packs. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like most guys wearing fanny packs can handle the shit that I've handled just from wearing them. And, I don't care. I dress myself up like the Easter episode of Miami Vice, which doesn't exist, but I like to wear how I would dress myself up if I was a toy, So
Mhm.
color coordinated, bright colors, whatever. But I'm a very shy person. Um, if I'm in a situation where I know everybody, I'm fucking king. If I don't know anybody, I may not, I might leave, like I, but I also
I get it.
like when I go, my thing though too, is that I understand that a, a lot of people are shy. And so like every time I go out dancing, I will say this thousands of times, I would say I was the first person to start dancing because I know that if no one's dancing, if you just start dancing and like commit to yourself and not be shy about it, other people will come out dancing, and that can't be, well, whatever. I love dancing. And even my wife and I went out a couple weeks, well, before this coronavirus stuff started. And it was weird because here we are at this dance club and nobody's dancing yet because we get there early. We get a babysitter. We like to dance when the dance floor is empty and then leave as soon as it gets crowded. Nobody was dancing. So, hey, let's have a couple drinks. And then we started dancing and then everybody started dancing. And it was weird to experience that this year, where I'm like, I think people would dance a lot harder now, knowing what we've been through.
Well, when all this bullshit's over, like, yeah, you'll be leading the charge on the dance floor.
I might start doing some Zoom parties, dance parties. We've done a couple. Pretty fun.
Ah, let me know. I think we might be down. So, um, hold on. Sorry, I'm so not professional. Um, what have been what have you been streaming or reading while in quarantine?
Well, my I watched the Tiger King. It's weird because there's so many people on Facebook that are just like, I'm not going to watch that stupid show. And it's like, hey, wait a minute. It's weird when something blows up and there's so much hype around it because then it makes you go like, oh, I don't want to watch that because everyone loves it, like the Kardashians. Or my best example is what was the Sofia Coppola, Bill Murray Tokyo movie?
Oh, shoot. Lost in Translation.
Yes, Lost in Translation. I, I don't like to know anything about a movie because if you tell me it's funny, what's funny to me is not funny to you, maybe, And so to have any prejudgments makes me set it up too much. And so when I went to go see Lost in Translation, I walked in not expecting anything. I hadn't seen any trailers. And then I saw a a big advertisement on my way into the movie that said, America has picked its best comedy and it's Lost in Translation. So like, oh fuck, this is a comedy. Okay. I mean, I assumed it might be funny because Bill Murray was in it. But here I go into this movie expecting this gigantic America favorite comedy. It was not that.
No, not at all.
Granted, I have my, pickings about Sofia Coppola. I feel like she doesn't translate too many things. I don't know. It's like reading a book that I didn't want to read. Anyways, um, it was not funny, and but Tiger King's the same way, where it's like we didn't know anything about it. The brilliance of that documentary is, listen to, have you seen it?
Yeah, yeah.
So here's the thing: somebody was doing a documentary about illegal snakes and lizards, and they stumbled upon this crazy world of big cat owners. And so, say what you will, that we should not be glorifying these idiots or these womanizers or these anything. And I'm like, hey, I'm not glorifying anything by watching it. This wasn't, the documentarians weren't trying to make Jerry Springer. They were trying to look at the illegal world of snakes, and they stumbled upon gold. And so it's great to watch, knowing that from a documentarian's point of view, that holy fuck, like trolls are real, meaning they stumbled into this fantasy world that you would not know anything about. And so thank you for introducing us to this and doing this documentary. It must have taken them years to make. I don't glorify any of those people. I didn't go follow any of them or make them out to be kings and queens. It was just a great slice of life of people with money, meaning you don't need to have a mansion to have money. The world of illegal big cats, I mean, there's a lot of money in that, and they're not good at their money. So I think it's a great way to watch people that don't know. I don't know. I mean, sure, there's that basically the sex cult group,
Right.
there's the guy who is king of the castle, and then there's the girl who she's having her own tea party.
Right.
I mean, it is a great slice of life. And so it's funny when I see people being like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that. I'm like, hey, you don't have to. Nobody's telling you to watch it. It's not, you can't compare it to the Kardashians because they're shoving that down your throat. The reason why something's big on Netflix is because people like it, not because the network is trying to shove it down your throat. So there's a difference. So I would, that's all I'm saying is that, like,
I think there's also, you said slice of life, and like things like, yeah, Tiger King. You find out, oh, there there's people next door that are like this.
yeah,
There you go. And your next door neighbor fed her husband to tigers,
she
just
did.
so you know.
Do you think I 100% believe, I know that the documentarians kind of point her in that bad light, that it was possible, but like, I'm like, dude, she fucking did it.
Oh, by far. Oh, by far. Like,
Like, I have like Wade thinks that he got away, that he left the country. And I'm like, he wouldn't have left that van. He wouldn't have left that van at the airport. That's a setup. He wouldn't have left them with all that money.
as a
He
good
died.
therapist, I'm good at judging people.
Oh, good.
She full on fucking killed her husband and fed him to the tigers. So,
And she justifies it by creating the Big Cat Rescue, which is exactly the same of what everybody else is doing. I don't know. It's a great show.
oh. So, by the way, is that a Telecaster in the background that I'm seeing?
Yeah, my wife plays guitar, and well, I mean, we play a lot of instruments. The thing is, we have a hard time playing them together. But yes, that is, and that's my bass, and we've got keyboards and all kinds of shit, electronic drum set, and eventually, I mean, here's the thing: we've got a 2.5-year-old, and I'm not going to shove anything down his throat. He can do whatever he wants, but He's going to take piano lessons whether he likes it or not, right?
Good, good, good. I am so not musically talented at all, but I have a sweet Telecaster because I love Telecasters. My wife is very musically inclined. She finds it funny that I cannot sing. Oh God. So I left the church when I before I met her. She made me become Lutheran, so now I'm like really liberal Lutheran. But then every time we sing things, I'm like, the bread of bread is bread. It's a John Mulaney joke, but that's what I do. And then she gets pissed off at me because I don't know if you grew up or if you've been to. Um,
I grew up small town Baptist, not Southern Baptist, but Colorado Baptist, which
oh,
is,
okay.
it's like a liberal Baptist, but it's still fucking Baptist.
Oh man. Honestly, if it wasn't for my wife, I would have left the church long ago. But we do the passing of the peace, and before all of the COVID stuff, I would be like, face off, peace of Christ, peace of Christ. And then she would hit me in the middle of church. She would be like, stop it, stop touching my face. And I would be like, I'm Castor Pollux from Face Off. Christ. So, anyways, see, this is why I need a list because otherwise, like, we would be talking like all night. Uh, all right, I have one more question. How are you practicing self-care in these fucked up times?
So here's the thing. Even though I don't like the word conspiracy theorist because it blankets in too many things that I think, like I'm not going to bag on flat earthers right now, but I'm going to say, my take on that is flat earthers are using science improperly, right? And a lot of conspiracy theories use whatever dogma they're into, right? So when you look at QAnon, right? It's very like religious-based conspiracy theories, and I'm not going to bag on anything. I accept all conspiracy theories because they are all theories of conspiracy, and I think that the saying, um, "absolute power corrupts absolutely," or whatever. I might have gotten that wrong,
Yeah.
but
No,
um,
you got it right.
why do we have why has humanity survived on bloodlines? How does that make anybody special? And
Hmm.
as far as conspiracy theories, when we have secret entities like CIA, FBI, there are hundreds of secret entities in America that are attached to military. The Air Force has their own secret, the Navy, the Army, and they're not all cooperating. They're all doing their own thing. When they get a piece of information, they don't share it because why would you give anything away to anybody? I'm not saying, well, I don't know, whatever. I don't mean to go down that road, but what I'm saying is that like, so I have a healthy knowledge of how to survive in conspiracy times,
Hmm.
or I'm sorry, in the end of times, we'll say. So like in LA, if the power goes out, we can no longer get fresh water because the water companies run on power. And there are states like Colorado where you're not allowed to use rain collectors.
Hmm.
That's illegal. It's not in California, but how do you get fresh water when you are in this information age of, I live in an apartment, I don't have a garage, and if my apartment turns off, I don't have anything.
Hmm.
And so one way to do self-care is just to be prepared in your situation. So in our situation, yeah, I've got water in the basement. Or, I mean, we have a garage. I've got some, 5-gallon water bottles. We even have the radiation pills to, if we have to survive a nuclear blast.
Hmm.
There are these pills you can take that will inhibit your thyroid from accepting radiation, but it'll probably give you cancer. But it's an emergency situation thing. I know how to make fresh water from salt water. Um, Whether I have a stove or a campfire.
All right,
Um,
right.
but for the most part, the sad thing about the quarantine is everybody's inside. Like, we're not even allowed to go to parks anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not allowed to go on hikes. The best thing for you to do is to be healthy. And so we eat healthy, we cook all our meals, we take vitamins. I know you might think vitamins are a sham, and that's fine, but you should still take them because what is a bigger sham is the meat industry of today, the chicken and egg industry, hormones, whatever. Most of the processed foods that we're eating are so bad for us, whatever. What's more important though is that you need to be healthy physically. And if you can't work out, even if you can't get a sweat going, we do the dancing at least once a week. There are dance parties online, Zoom dance parties. Um, we get to dance and get silly and feel normal. We do qigong as much as we can. It's
What's she gone?
Qigong is like it's not yoga, but it's like a style of stretching that is a lot of the stretching is focused on your chi, your your internal centers, your liver, your
Hmm.
I don't know. Here's the thing: if you can't sweat every day, like, you should at least stretch out. Like that, the circulation of your body, like sitting down is the worst thing for your circulation. So just get up and stretch out. Sure, meditate if you can. You've got to see the sunlight. Just stand in front of the window for 15 minutes because that. And if you're not going to do that, take vitamin D. I'm just saying though that,
Ugh.
like, you should sweat every day, you should stretch every day, you should see the sun every day, and you should try to eat healthy. We try to cut back on drinking. I drank 3 nights in a row right now, but when i when I dance and when I do comedy, I drink because dancing and comedy is a mental game, and my mentalness will tell me to stop.
Hmm.
My brain will say, you're not being funny. My brain will say, you're doing the same moves over and over. Like, why are you dancing? People are looking at you. And so if I have a couple drinks or maybe smoke a little weed, it just makes me not focus on what my mind is saying.
Hmm.
And so you know, I think that's a great question. Self-care to me is also communicating with people. I'm talking to more people now than I ever have.
Me too. Me
And
too.
so I I hope that people are being healthy, because when I talk to some people, they're like, "Oh, I'm just binge watching everything." And I'm like, "Ugh." You could binge watch stuff for a week and then kind of fuck up your circulation, you know?
Hmm.
Like, you got to get up, you got to stretch. Qigong is just a weird, it's basically like a different style of stretching.
I'll have to check it out. I
It's
think that would be. I think it'd be good for me because I'm trying to be more healthy. Like I said, I had a health scare in October. So I have dropped like 50, 60 pounds. So I'm still fat as fuck, but at least I'm doing a little bit better. But I think the stretching would be good. Um,
I mean, listen, Carl Reiner, who's in his 90s, he might even
mhm.
be 100 by now. He he has a book that, it's a very simple. It's basically like a child book for adults. But and he's still extremely funny. But his book is about how stretching saved his life. That, like,
Hmm.
even at his old age, he fell down a flight of stairs that should have killed him, but because he stretched out
Oof.
enough and he was limber, like, it didn't hurt him as much. So, like, this might sound like the dumbest thing I've ever said, but, like, stretching can save you. Like, you've got to do something every day. Find a plank challenge. Plank? Is that what it's called? Trying to plank challenge. Trying to sit up
Okay.
challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something.
Hold on. I'm sorry. The dogs need to go potty, and I'm in the dining room. Still online. Um. All right. Well, hey, Willie, I need to take the dogs out because otherwise my other dog is gonna shit in the house.
Yeah, I have to do that too.
So it was so good to connect with you.
Yeah, thank you for reaching out to me.
Of course.
This is, I don't know. I feel more connected to you, and I think that's what humanity is. So thank you.
That is the perfect sentiment of what I'm trying to do. I love the fact that I can connect to people that are thousands of miles away. So take care. I'll probably give you a call because I'm going to try to figure out all of this podcasting
great.
bullshit. And we'll go from there. Hopefully, I can upload this. If not, we had a good conversation. And I'm doing that thing. All right. Take care, Willie.
Thank
Love
you
ya.
very much. You too.
Bye.
Bye.